Hey everybody, Nemo060 here, and I am making this video because I have seen a lot of atheists on YouTube talk about how morals are subjective and definitely not black and white. However, I don't really feel that many people go into detail about this, and I have seen hardcore theists come back and say that, well, if morality is subjective, then, you think it's okay to rape people. This is not the case. This video will be using my own personal opinions on hunting to describe how it is possible to have subjective morals without subscribing to complete black and white blanket statements, and how that we would work out how something is moral without needing to have a basic set of rules given by some all-powerful being to have any morals at all. Now onto the subject at hand, hunting. Hunting can be used for various methods. At the most basic concept, it is tracking and killing an animal. And I personally do not like this idea. While I have to admit I do like meat, and I understand it comes from somewhere, and I know this is a bit of a contradiction here, but if I could, in all honesty, I do not like killing things. I do not take pleasure in the thought of killing animals unless it's, for my absolute necessary survival. If I can help it, I would prefer never to kill or harm any animal. I love animals, I love wildlife, and I love the natural world. And there's just something about it that just holding a gun in my hand and pulling the trigger to end one's life is just not personally appealing to me. When people think of hunting, I think a lot of people think of trophy hunting and, the 1920s style safaris with, people in these large hats and cargo jacket and shorts with a big rifle and shooting down animals and posing next to them in black and white photos. This I generally do not like. This I feel is quite greedy, and it also feels to me as very careless. Unregulated hunting simply for trophies or for the fun of things, just killing them randomly, or the fact that you may be afraid of these animals and you seem to think that extermination, which has happened in the past, people thought that extermination was the only way to get rid of these things. This has happened with sharks, this has happened with wolves, and it has probably happened with many other predators. This I would consider to be immoral, but I do have a reason for this. I don't just think killing equals bad and therefore killing equals immoral. No, it's the reason for the killing in the first place which leads me to personally think that trophy hunting would be, carelessly, would be immoral. It is immoral to me because it disregards the animal's welfare and also the welfare to the environment. And so this is more of an attitude, really. I think the attitude to this sort of trophy hunting is personally immoral. However, I recently watched an hour-and-a-half documentary on the history of safari, and I will talk more about trophy hunting for conservation later on. Similarly, I feel that unregulated hunting for sport is on the same line. Not using the animal at all, and just killing the animal because, well, you feel like it. Just because you feel like it does not mean that, all other animals, especially predators, deserve to suffer and, deserve to have their population wiped out just because you like to see them die. However, natives hunting for food, or if you use the animal, to sustain yourself, and actually, use it for a general purpose if you absolutely need to, or if you were killing something for survival, which wouldn't really be hunting, but you get the idea. Well, that's different, because you are using it for a much better purpose. Say you're out in the wilderness and you've lost track of where you were. You've been stuck out there for days. All you have are the clothes you have on you, your gun, say a rifle, and a few rounds of ammunition left. If you hunt something and therefore kill it, but to sustain yourself with, or even if you're hunting and then give it to, the poor people, then that is generally better. However, this is where it goes to show that things cannot be black and white. In today's modern age, we have farms. We have all sorts of stuff where we can kill animals humanely and we can sustain ourselves. Even vegetarians can sustain themselves and live healthy lifestyles without eating meat. Sorry about that. And so if you just suddenly, go and wipe out half the wolf population and have a feast every night, then I do not consider that moral. Because, you're still being selfish and you are not taking the environmental issues into hand. And this is the main point I'm making, that atheists like myself will determine what our morals are based on how it affects others and the environment. If it affects others negatively, even if it benefits us, benefits us in a good way and affects us greatly, then generally it will be immoral. However, again, this also depends on what the other options are. Take my example of being lost in the wilderness. Say you're not a very good marksman and the animal dies slowly and you unfortunately have to watch it suffer and die. You just accept this as a general occupational hazard, shall we say. This is different because you don't have a choice in the matter and that you would not willingly see it suffer, and you also don't have a choice other than for it to benefit you, as you probably don't know, as you may not know which mushrooms are poisonous and which are not, and so you avoid them altogether. And this brings me back to big game hunting and the grey area, if you will. There are national parks where they have created a certain area of land and to sell to rich people who wish to go and hunt for sport. I would generally consider this immoral. However, this is regulated and they use the money to help fund wildlife charities and sustaining the environment, so that the animals have a sustainable population, and that these people are going to be experienced. It's one bullet to the head, it's dead. No suffering involved, hopefully. And it could also be used to help fund education about hunting and the effects of it. Overhunting is something that has made many species extinct in the past and threatens many today. And thus, while I do not like big game hunting, and I would never consider it to do myself, even if I, considered it immoral to do the act in the first place, because it is regulated and because it is contributing to a better cause and it is not doing a large amount of harm overall, it is something I can tolerate. And thus, proves how morals are subjective. Just because I find that this big game hunting and hunting for sport, hunting for trophies only, and hunting for the pleasure of it is immoral, does not mean other people should instantly feel the same way. I have nothing against those who find sport hunting enjoyable, as I think there may be an evolutionary advantage to feeling pleasure from it, because if we enjoy it, then we're going to want to sustain ourselves better and want to stay alive more. It could possibly be in human nature. I'm no scientist nor anthropologist, however this is just a hypothesis of mine. And so in conclusion, I think it should be pretty clear that it's always about the bigger picture. I hate Sarah Palin, especially because she wanted to support aerial hunting of wolves for sport and just shows them off as trophies and just likes to kill them with, out of care in the world. brutally, and the animals really suffer and complete, unfairly, as well as these being vital predators to the ecosystem. However, as is the case with regulated big game hunting and, clubs that donate the money to charities to help sustain wildlife, if it's sustainable and the bigger picture can work, then I think that would be a lot more morally acceptable than some guy who just likes to go out and shoot anything he sees. I hope this has been quite clear. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comment box, or through PM, or through video response if you so desire. And I apologise if I have offended any hunters here. I'm just stating my opinion, not fact. This is nessacery, and I shall see you all on the dark side of the moon. Off and away.